trial of Ellie Nestler gets underway in a Tuolumne County courtroom. We'll have a live report from Sonora.
And to the south, another woman on trial for murder, F Street boarding house owner Dorothea Puente. Her fate may soon lie in the hands of the jury.
And an incredible story out of Florida today. A third person is attacked by a barracuda. Good afternoon, I'm Alicia Malaby.
And I'm Maurice Dubois. Channel 3 reports the news at noon is next.
What's got into that cat?
Friskies!
What's got into that cat?
Friskies!
Great tasting Friskies, filled with energy-producing nutrients to bring out the frisky in your cat.
What's got into that cat?
Friskies!
Now introducing Frisky Senior, formulated for the special needs of cats 7 years and older.
Why call 1-800-DENTIST?
I'm not going to screen a dentist myself. Can I see your license, please?
You want to know, but you don't want to ask.
How many years have you been practicing?
You never really ask, so you never really know.
Do you really think you can handle my kids?
You know you're never going to ask.
So I just called 1-800-DENTIST. They'd already asked those questions for me.
Ask the people who do know. Call 1-800-DENTIST today.
Days of Our Lives, weekday afternoons at 4 on Channel 3.
It's 12 noon, and you're watching KCRA TV, where the news comes first. With Maurice Dubois, Alicia Malaby, weather with Brian Albrecht, home of Live Copter 3, and Northern California's #1 news team. This is Channel 3 Reports.
Was it a premeditated murder or the uncontrolled rage of a mother striking out at the man accused of molesting her young son? That's the question to be decided as the murder trial of Ellie Nestler gets underway today in Tuolumne County. The first phase of that trial began this morning, the very tough task of picking a jury. No one questions the fact that Nestler killed Daniel Driver as he sat in a county courtroom. The issue is whether or not she planned the murder ahead of time. Channel 3's Rich Ibarra joining us now live from the small town of Sonora, where the case is being tried. Rich?
Well, Maurice, today is jury selection day, and jury selection is expected to take this week and perhaps part of next week to complete. 170 prospective jurors are being called in, and from them, 12 jurors and 6 alternates will be picked. The lobby filled with people prior to the courtroom opening, but most of those outside were news media, with less than a dozen relatives or friends of Ellie Nestler present. Nestler herself arrived smiling and waving to those in the courtroom. This morning, the first half of prospective jurors filed into the courtroom and will fill out questionnaires submitted by attorneys. The case has 2 phases, about 10 days for the guilt phase, since Nestler has pled not guilty by reason of insanity, and 15 days for the sanity phase. Part of that defense is that Nestler was on methamphetamine when she allegedly shot accused molester Daniel Driver. But drug use also has caused Nestler to lose some support in this community.
I still think that the issue is molest, and where a mother was driven beyond past the sanity mark. That is the issue. As far as arrest, I think that's the prosecution's way to say, hey guys, you know, who are you supporting, and try and make her look like, hey, this isn't at all the case.
Well, the prosecution plans to introduce 20 pieces of evidence, and of course there will be many witnesses to this incident, including some of the district attorneys that were trying the Daniel Driver case when he was allegedly shot. Back to you, Maurice.
Rich, of course, this has been a worldwide, a case that's gotten worldwide attention. We're talking about a small town here. Is there anybody that authorities think that hasn't heard of this case?
Well, take Sonora, for instance. Sonora has a community of 4,000 people, and word spreads pretty fast around here. It's been in the paper almost every day. Now, it's not the topic of discussion at, say, for instance, every breakfast meeting, but it's pretty close to it.
Okay, Rich, thanks very much.
As the Ellie Nestler case begins, another highly publicized murder trial is winding down. It's the trial of Dorothea Puente. This morning, her defense attorney made another admission. In closing arguments, he acknowledged that the former Sacramento F Street landlady elaborately prepared her tenants for burial. However, he said that was only after they died from natural causes. Channel 3's Mike Boyd joins us now live from the courthouse in Monterey with more on this story. Mike?
Alicia, the case should go to the jury by late this afternoon. But the admissions this morning are new. They describe how the victims at F Street were prepared for death by one person after they had died. And that one person, according to her attorney, is the landlady who had cared for them in life.
If the assumption or the supposition is that Dorothea Puente is giving people this Dalmain, for instance, to knock them out, why go to all the trouble with all the other layers of wrapping?
Layers of wrapping. Puente's attorney says every victim found in the boarding house yard was carefully prepared after death, prepared by his client.
You see layer after layer after layer of plastic. Why do that?
Climo argues if the murders were pre-planned, Dorothea Puente never would have gone to all that trouble.
The evidence contradicts that.
The trial has gone 5 months. The defense is now attacking the theory that the victims died of Dalmain poisoning, that the 3 labs analyzing a cause of death could not agree.
Everybody, all 3 labs got different results. I do know I cannot prove to you that all these samples got contaminated with Dalmain, but I do know it has been proved to you that they possibly could have been.
So the contaminated samples of Dalmain, not a cause of death, according to the defense. We do know by their own admissions, however, that Dorothea Puente cashed checks, the prosecutor says over $80,000 worth, checks that were coming in to the murder victims, the alleged murder victims, and that she, Dorothea Puente, had prepared them after they had died, elaborately sewed them up with thread and wrapped them in plastic. The arguments and admissions are very interesting today. The defense attorney, Kevin Climo, failed to mention one of those F Street victims who was dug up back in 1988, and that is Betty Palmer. She was found in the ground without head, hands, or feet, parts of the body that have never been recovered. Live in Monterey, Mike Boyd, Channel 3 reports. Alicia, back to you.
Mike, what's on the schedule for this afternoon?
Well, I think the defense will wrap up rather quickly, and then the prosecution will get a chance to rebut. Since the burden of proof is on the people, they have the last say in this trial before it goes to the jury. How long the jury is going to be out when they get the case, probably late today, is only a guess.
Sure. All right. Thank you, Mike, for that report. Maurice?
Also in the news today, the disaster that continues to unfold in the American Midwest. Today, towns and cities along the flooded Mississippi River are getting exactly what they don't need at this hour: more rain. Storms are raging across Iowa and Missouri today. Heavy rain reported near Des Moines on the Raccoon River, where 2 inches of rain fell in just 20 minutes. Nebraska is also apparently suffering today. Flash flood warnings are posted in the northern part of that state. And this is how it looked in Des Moines today. This morning, the entire state of Iowa was declared a federal disaster area. This will make emergency low-interest loans and assistance available to flood victims. Ironically, people are lining up for water in Des Moines, where floodwaters have contaminated the city's water supply. Residents are being allotted 5-gallon jugs of fresh water. The city plans to add 250,000 more distribution sites, but it could be a month before water is available. Damage from the flooding is estimated to top $2 billion. At least 19 deaths are blamed on the flooding, 13 of them in Missouri. Reporter Charles Zewey has more now on the damage in Missouri from the community of LeMay.
Continuing its disastrous rise, the Mississippi's rolling crest is moving downriver toward St. Louis. More than 100 levees have failed so far, and many others are threatened. At the Emergency Management Center in St. Charles, Missouri, officials are worried about Missouri River levees. In a worst-case scenario, the levees could fail, and then the Missouri would merge with the Mississippi.
We feel we can hold the Missouri River at this time, barring no additional rain, no additional complications in regard to the primary levees softening are being imposed by the Mississippi River impact on those levees. But there's always doubt in your mind.
Federal Emergency Management Director James Lee Witt toured the area, reassuring officials that despite severe criticism over slow federal response in past disasters, this time is different.
The difference is President Clinton has said he wanted the red tape cut out, and he wanted us to expedite the help that these people would need, and that's what we're doing.
Trying to demonstrate that speed, more disaster assistance offices were opened in flooded areas where damage now exceeds $5 billion. The chief need is housing.
Because I always in there, I got my whole life in there. I can't start over. You know, you work all your life to try to buy a home and pay for it, and you can live in the rest of your life. Then this happened.
In 6 states, 33,000 people are homeless, among them Paula McCoy and children Amber, Christina, and Ashley. They're living in a hotel.
What's the hardest part about it for you and your girls?
All of it. We want to go home, huh?
For some people, that might not happen for months. Meanwhile, federal officials are saying that victims could start getting checks in as little as a week to start rebuilding. Early on in the flooding, President Clinton got an up-close look at the damage in Davenport, Iowa. He'll make his second stop in the flood zone when he visits the area tomorrow on his way back to Washington from Hawaii. In Lemay, Missouri, Charles Zewe, Channel 3 reports.
As we mentioned earlier, more rain is falling in the Midwest today, and the news only goes from bad to worse because these latest storms might not let up for a couple of days. For more on that, we turn to meteorologist Brian Albrecht. He's in the Channel 3 Weather Center with details on the storms. Brian?
Well, you can see the pictures from Des Moines, Iowa, the thunder clouds rolling in and more rain on the way. Right now, the rain is moving out of Des Moines, Iowa, but that's only good news for folks around Des Moines because it's just moving on to the east and the southeast. To look at the radar screens from the central part of the country, heavy rainfall over northern Missouri at the present time, extending from around Kansas City to Hannibal, Missouri, and up into southeastern Iowa. Lighter rains along the Mississippi River into parts of northeast Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, and a small part of southeast Minnesota. And again, this is moving toward the east. More thunderstorms this afternoon and evenings scattered around the upper Midwest. Looks like the next couple of days will feature more wet weather, although the long-term forecast toward the second half of the week and the weekend calling for some drier weather to finally begin moving in. Perhaps a change in the overall weather pattern that'll bring this flooding at least to a climax and allow things to gradually get back to normal. But it's going to take at least a month, once the rains do subside, to bring rivers and streams back down to more reasonable levels for this time of the year. I'll talk more about the weather across our part of the country, a lot brighter picture, a little later in the newscast.
Much different. Okay, thank you, Brian. Well, there's a way you can help the folks affected by the devastating floods. You can donate money to the American Red Cross. Here's the address, the American Red Cross, P.O. Box 160167, Sacramento. The zip code is 95816. Now, please don't send cash. You can make your checks payable to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund, and we'll show you this address again at the end of our newscast.
And another natural disaster to update you on this afternoon. Authorities in Japan now say at least 65 people died in yesterday's earthquake that rattled that country's northern coast. And here's how it looked in Japan earlier today. Homes flattened and debris piled everywhere. There are still close to 100 people missing and more than 70 who suffered injuries during the 7.8 trembler. Hundreds of homes caught on fire during the quake. It also triggered tidal waves as far away as Russia and South Korea. This was the strongest quake to hit Japan in more than 15 years.
Amazing, all these natural disasters.
At one time.
There's still more news to come today on the news at noon, including the latest on an apartment fire in Sacramento.
Also ahead this afternoon, the NASCAR racing world loses one of its own after a helicopter crash.
And in our second half hour, more testimony from the murder trial of Eric Houston. Today, his psychiatrist comes under attack.
Come to the Sacramento Tomato Festival for a swinging good time, July 17th and 18th at Rancho Arroyo Sports Complex. Arts, crafts, live music, Western shootouts, and lots of family fun. Taste the excitement of the ultimate tomato cook-off. See $1 million worth of classic cars. There's the petting zoo, face painting, and rides for the kids. It all happens July 17th and 18th at Rancho Arroyo. It's the one and only Sacramento Tomato Festival. Come and join the excitement. Yeehaw!
Hi, guy. Nice bathrobe. What do you got, cheese for breakfast? I see. Toasted bagel, fresh tomato, melted mozzarella cheese. Very nutritious. Hey, do you mind if I split that with you? Just a little bite? I guess you do. Cheese. Good fast food from the makers of milk. Uh-oh, late for work again. What about breakfast? Yogurt, very healthy, and some OJ, and a banana, very smart. Yeah, great tie. Oh, yeah, you're a pro at this. Hey, where are you going? What, are you in a hurry? Yogurt, good fast food for the bakers at Bill. Ow.
It's happening right now. It's the Chapter 11 bankruptcy sale at White Crane Trading Company in Sacramento. Every item in every department is priced to move and move now. Top name brands from wall to wall and floor to ceiling. Living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, just about anything for any room. Desperately needed cash must be raised immediately. Rush to White Crane's Chapter 11 bankruptcy sale. Rush to the event no serious furniture buyer can afford to miss. It's happening right now. Find what you want before someone else does.
Something big is coming to your mailbox. It's exciting. It's stimulating. It's illuminating. It's the Safeway Summer of Savings Coupon Book. With over $84 in money-saving coupons and a chance to win a trip to Hawaii. Just look in your mailbox. You'd be crazy to miss it. So get a jump on savings with the Safeway Summer of Savings Coupon Book. When it comes to gargantuan savings, nobody does it better than Safeway.
Fire in South Sacramento today seriously damaged 2 apartment units. Firefighters say no one was home in the downstairs unit of this apartment on Meadowview Road when the fire broke out. That's where most of the damage was, but the upstairs unit was also heavily damaged by water, smoke, and flames. No one injured in this blaze. And while investigators say they've not yet determined the cause of the blaze, it is being treated as a suspicious fire.
A South Natomas couple is recovering from a home invasion robbery today. Authorities say a small gang of men broke into the home early this morning carrying AK-47s and semi-automatic pistols. They tied up the owners and ransacked the house. Police say 4 or 5 black males in their 20s broke into the house on Old West Road. They pistol whipped the man and the woman who live inside, ransacked the home looking for drugs and money, and then stole a 1981 Buick Regal from the driveway. Authorities say they believe this home invasion robbery was not a random act of violence. Federal authorities say more than 24 agents have now been assigned to a task force investigating mail bomb attacks against university professors. The FBI says the task force will include investigators from several law enforcement agencies, including the U.S. Postal Service. 2 bombings last month injured a Bay Area professor and a Yale professor. Authorities won't say why the task force is based in San Francisco, but the recent mail bombs carried Sacramento postmarks.
A string of power lines is to blame for a helicopter crash that killed 2 men yesterday in Placer County. The chopper crashed northeast of Auburn near the town of Weimar. Authorities say pilot John Driscoll did not see a string of power lines in his path. He flew into them, crashing the helicopter into the American River. Both Driscoll of Rockland and Glenn Latourell of Napa were killed. The crash sparked a grass fire that charred 50 acres before crews were able to put it out. And another helicopter crash has claimed the life of a NASCAR auto racer. DAVEY Allison died this morning after suffering severe injuries in a crash yesterday. Fellow racer Red Farmer was also on board. Today, he's listed in critical condition. Reporter Mark Barger has more now on DAVEY Allison's career.
NASCAR drivers live with the danger of crashes. DAVEY Allison himself had survived this harrowing wreck at the Pocono International Raceway almost 1 year ago. But the one that claimed his life was not in a car, but in this helicopter, one he had recently purchased and just Sunday had been cleared to fly.
He was pronounced dead at 7 a.m. by Dr. Evan Zeiger, Caraway neurosurgeon. The cause of death was massive head injury, and he was never able to regain consciousness once he arrived.
The 32-year-old Allison won 18 races in his NASCAR career. Ironically, 4 of them were at the Talladega Superspeedway where his fatal accident occurred. This is not the first tragedy to hit the Allison family. Father Bobby's racing career ended in a near-fatal crash at Pocono, and last year, his son Clifford died in a crash at the Michigan International Speedway.
Just wasn't to be, and again, Bobby feels the same way that we all do. How could this happen? How much is enough?
Allison had finished 3rd in Sunday's race at New Hampshire and was 7th in NASCAR money winnings this season. His death comes just 4 months after the death of reigning NASCAR points champion Alan Kulwicki in a plane crash in Tennessee. I'm Mark Barger, NBC News.
DAVEY Allison was 32 years old.
You're watching KCRA TV, where the news comes first.
Have you seen it? Yeah, we've seen it. Have you tried extra classic bubblegum? We've tried it. And do you love it? We love that great classic bubblegum flavor. Everyone's trying extra classic bubblegum with NutraSweet. Classic bubblegum flavor that lasts an extra long time. So if you still haven't tried it, you're missing a tremendous breakthrough. Get classic bubblegum flavor that lasts an extra long time.
When you work one job, grab a quick lunch, a quicker dinner, and move on to job number 2, how you gonna spell relief? That's a big relief you can feel because ROLAIDS absorbs 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid to stop heartburn fast. So for millions, there's only one way to spell 100% relief. ROLAIDS spells 100% relief.
What I like about Braley and Graham is you don't have a half dozen salesmen swarming over you the minute you set foot on the lot. 40 California Regals to choose from, all equipped the way Californians like. V6, anti-lock brakes, leather air conditioning, concert sound system, and all at the no-haggle value price of $17,999. Okay, now I'm ready to talk to a salesman.
Hi, let me show you the $17,999 California Regal I want.
At the Valley's Volume Buick dealer, Braley and Graham Buick, 2200 Fulton Avenue, Sacramento.
Why is Inside Edition the daily news magazine more people turn on? Because Inside Edition shows you the most compelling stories on television every day. And on the next Inside Edition, Lester had it all. A successful law practice, a mansion, and a loving wife. But then his wife took off with a younger man. And when Lester confronted him, Lester wound up dead.
I think it's better than any soap opera that you could ever see on daytime television.
Watch Inside Edition.
Tuesday at 10:30 on Channel 3.
So do you love the beach, but the tropical getaways like Hawaii, Mexico, and the Caribbean are way out of your budget? Well, Ricky Stevenson found a seaside resort that's both affordable and a whole lot closer to home.
San Diego, California. It's a city on the water, designed for vacations on the water. A sure bet for kicking back to the sound of lapping waves.
Oh, we were looking for something beachside, oceanfront, relaxing, and romantic, definitely romantic. So this is it, San Diego, the beach.
There's actually only a handful of beachfront hotels in San Diego, like the Catamaran, a resort complex right on Mission Bay.
You're on the beach, literally on the ocean, and a mile away from La Jolla.
Rates start at $120 with amenities that go well beyond the view. A Mission Bay location means instant access to 4,600 acres of aquatic recreation.
If basking in the sun is your idea of fun, these days you've got a lot of options. For instance, check out this new water toy. It's called a Sun Cat, a motorized beach chair that lets you just sit back and relax or tool around at your leisure.
Just pick your water sport and go. It's all here, from paddle boats to kayaking and sailing. There's even a harbor hopper ferry with 10 Mission Bay stops.
It really is the essence of what people have thought so many years about what Southern California experience is. Mission Bay has it. Mission Bay was designed for it.
And if it's crashing surf you seek, the Pacific Ocean is always in sight. Certainly no exotic island getaway, but for an affordable option, don't overlook San Diego. Ricky Stevenson for Channel 3 Reports.
Eat your heart out, and if you'd like some more information on today's travel segment, send a self-addressed stamped envelope with 52 cents postage to Travel Guide San Diego edition, care of KCRA TV, Post Office Box 13390, Sacramento, and the zip code is 95813.
Amazing Blue Star ointment stops itching fast. Dry, cracked feet, nails and cuticles, athlete's feet, scalp itch, jock itch, psoriasis. Blue Star ointment, the one that's guaranteed. Ask for it.
The light turns green and this guy plows into me. And I end up with a broken arm. This fella's insurance company said they'd take care of everything. Yeah, right. My friend said I'd get more money if I didn't use a lawyer. But I was afraid of how much I could lose. I mean, I'm not trying to get rich or anything. I just want what I'm entitled to. So I called Jacoby and Myers.
Check the white pages for the Jacoby and Myers office nearest you.
Utility Conservation Services announces this important information from SMUD. If you replace your central air conditioner right now, SMUD is offering 100% financing with no money down. The 93 budget is limited. It's first come, first served, so call now. As a SMUD customer, you may already be pre-approved. Limited funds are available, so act now. Call Utility Conservation Services at 985-6494 before these limited funds from SMUD run out. Call now.
Everybody get enough to eat?
Some people take credit for granted. It's so convenient they never really think of it as debt. They forget how it can add up until someone reminds them.
I'm sorry, sir. The credit card company has asked us to hold your card. Would you care to pay cash?
You have any money on you?
We should have known this was coming.
Consumer Credit Counseling Service has helped thousands of people solve debt problems. Call for an appointment.
Well, Brian's trying to come up with another way to say sunny and warm, terrific weather.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Awesome.
Good description.
Okay, let's do sports or something. I'm done.
Roll the tape.
Oh, okay. Well, now we've got a few things that we need to discuss here in the next couple of minutes, so let's forge ahead. First stop is, of course, the usual sky camera shot with the temperatures, and they are comfortable. 82 degrees in Sacramento. Low dew point, 53. That's not extremely low, but it's firmly down there in the comfort zone. Gives us a relative humidity of 37%. Bit of a westerly breeze right now, and the pressure falling at 29.85 inches of mercury. Stockton has 84 degrees, northwest wind 13 miles per hour, a little stronger breeze, while Modesto checks in at 85 at noontime, with a west wind at 8 and a sunny sky. With the comfortable temperatures and the low humidities, no sweat around here, none whatsoever. In fact, we probably got some of the best weather anywhere in the country. Other parts of the nation, of course, sweltering in the heat, the southeast. Things have cooled off a little bit in the northeast, while, of course, the flooding and the heavy rains continue in the Midwest. And we'll, again, check in on that in the next couple of minutes. First off, our temperatures here at noontime. 86 degrees at McClellan Air Force Base, very comfortable 70 at South Lake Tahoe, 75 down at Mammoth Lakes, 85 in Merced. Over around the bay, a few clouds, 66 degrees in Oakland, partly cloudy conditions. Up at Santa Rosa, 77, Ukiah at 82. San Francisco, 68, 73, Los Angeles and San Diego. A lot of clouds down there. A hot spot, 99 in Blythe, right behind Phoenix at 98 degrees. Interior sections of California clear, as is most of Nevada and Oregon. We've got some clouds, even a few rain showers from Portland northward, especially into the western sections of Washington State. Seattle getting a little bit of rain on and off this morning and now early this afternoon. On the 3D satellite picture, we find a lot of low clouds spread from the coastal areas well out into the Pacific, extending from San Diego through the Los Angeles area up the central coast, and even some still lingering around the Bay Area. Mainly the western side of the city of San Francisco on down towards Santa Cruz and filling in the Monterey Bay. The overcast has been stubborn to burn away. North of the bay, things are a whole lot clearer. Across the rest of the country, clouds, lots of thunderstorm activity again erupting in the heat of the day over much of the upper Mississippi Valley. And some of these storms may become severe as cool air clashes with warm, humid air coming up from the south and east. And the severe weather threat mainly is found in the nation's midsection from the Central Plains on up into the upper Mississippi Valley area, right where it's been the last several days. The possibility of severe thunderstorms in the way of hail, strong gusty winds, and the threat of a few tornadoes to add insult to injury, or perhaps injury to injury, from Colorado on across parts of the Great Lakes, including Chicago up toward Minneapolis, back west to Denver, and on south as far as Oklahoma City and the Texas Panhandle. Where's the rain coming down right now? Well, the worst of it, unfortunately, is right in the worst spot. Northern sections of Missouri, very heavy rain, some hail perhaps in this area, progressing east and southeast right now. A few scattered showers breaking out in the southeast and a few scattered rain showers in chilly weather in parts of Minnesota and the Dakotas. Highs today barely above 60 degrees with cloudy conditions and rainy weather. Here in Northern California, we have hardly a cloud to be found, maybe a cumulus cloud or two this afternoon in the Sierra. Otherwise sunny with 70s and 80s. Truckee, 75, 72, Blue Canyon, 81 in Pollock Pines. The Gold Country, upper 80s and low 90s, sunny skies, beautiful day. The Bay Area, a few clouds around the coast, especially from San Francisco southward, otherwise sunny conditions. 88 in Fairfield, 85 Concord, San Francisco, 70 this afternoon. Here in the valley, mid-90s expected, about 94, with the Delta breeze picking up late this afternoon and evening, about 10 to 15 miles per hour. That'll cool us off nicely this evening and tonight. The 5-day outlook, not much change. Low 90s tomorrow, and again on Thursday, real nice. A little warmer Friday and Saturday, but just a little bit. Mid-90s, 94, 95 degrees, pretty palatable. for mid-July. Record high, 112.
Wow.
Set back in 1972, 21 years ago today.
Wow. So maybe you can take the next 4 or 5 days off?
Well, it's not up to me.
Leave the forecast to us?
Got to pull the right strings, go through the proper channels. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. When we come back, the murder trial of Eric Houston this afternoon. His psychiatrist is coming under attack from prosecutors during cross-examination.
Also ahead this afternoon, a fishtail out of Florida that's turning into a horror story. Barracudas attack tourists on their boats. Stay with us. The news at noon continues right after this.
Hi, this is Joey Mitchell, inviting you to the Placer County Fair July 14th through the 18th in Roseville. Celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Ferris wheel. Lots of food, fun, and entertainment. See pig races, the Swan Brothers Circus, and bungee jumping. Lots of action-packed stock car racing and the wildest rodeo in the West. Lots of great music from the fabulous Drifters, Boy Howdy, Mumbo Gumbo, and Texas the Band. Sponsored in part by Pepsi, Coors Beer, and the Red Baron Frozen Pizza. Don't miss this year's Placer County Fair, July 14th through the 18th in Roseville.
Do we have to do this every time? I told you we should have bought that basement model at Village RV.
Let's go to Village RV and trade this in right now.
Village RV, making your RV dreams come true.
The pain you may be experiencing in the lower back, hip, legs, or feet is not normal. Frequent headaches, tension, and high stress is not normal. The specialists at California Back and Neck Pain can help. Most job-related problems are covered 100% by insurance. Don't suffer pain needlessly. Get the most out of life. Call the specialist at California Back and Neck Pain today. 6 locations in Sacramento and Stockton.
Dates and details, a schedule of activities in Northern California. Join the fight to keep kids safe. Become a volunteer for the California Youth Crisis Hotline. Find support for epilepsy with family and friends at this Movers and Shakers meeting. Seniors receive discounts on various items at the Sacramento Food Co-op on this special day just for you. Take up the hot sport of the 90s and learn the fundamentals of inline skating. This is KCRA TV Channel 3, Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto.
You're watching KCRA TV, where the news comes first.
Home of Live Copter 3 and Northern California's #1 news team. This is Channel 3 Reports.
Hello again, I'm Maurice Dubois.
Good afternoon, I'm Alicia Malaby. Here's a look at the stories topping our news at noon today. The case of a woman accused of killing her son's alleged molester is now underway in a Tuolumne County courtroom. Jury selection began today for the murder trial of Ellie Nestler. Now, no one disputes that Nestler shot Daniel Driver to death in May. However, the defense claims Nestler was suffering from temporary insanity. 170 potential jurors are being considered. The first half of the group began filling out juror questionnaires today.
And the misery is growing in the Midwest as the streets around Iowa City once again begin filling up with water. One area upstream of the city received nearly 2 inches of rain in just 20 minutes this morning. That's expected to raise the flood level to a new record high. Meantime, the entire state of Iowa has been declared a federal disaster area. Damage there expected to top $2 billion.